Hey guys, this is WizWar100, back with a new video series that I wanted to try doing, or at least experiment to see what you guys think of it, because I've always been wanting to try this series called The Good, the Bad, the Game. Yeah, super original, but like, I liked how it sounded. It was just like The Good, the Bad, the Game. Anyways, the primary focus of The Good, the Bad, the Game is just looking at all the good points of a game or whatever I'm looking at, like say a device or anything, which in this case it's the mini NES. So just looking at all the good things and then looking at all the bad things and then drawing a conclusion at the end. Not quite like a review where I go in depth to it, but just kind of listing all the points and then like what I think of it at the end of it. So I wanted to try, so I've always wanted to try the series, wasn't sure where to try it, so I figured let's try it on this one and give it a little test run and leave some feedback to tell me what you think of it, or should it just not be done at all. But hey, at least I'm giving it a try. So let's get on with The Good, the Bad, the Game on the Mini NES. The Mini NES, so what is it? It's a plug-and-play system that Nintendo announced 1 or 2 months ago at the time of this recording, and well, pretty much everyone that's a Nintendo fan is pretty much excited about it, myself included, because I have a soft spot for plug-and-plays. If you've seen my video game review series, I've done a couple of plug-and-plays, like the FIFA plug-and-play system, the Sega Genesis plug-and-play system, and oh yeah, that thing is completely like brand new and has never been done before and hasn't been around for like years and stuff, and I got a super advanced copy like 5 years before it even came out, so definitely go check that review out. Nintendo's been around for years. But yeah, let's take a look at what the good stuff is on the Mini NES. So here are what I consider are the good things of the Mini NES. Is one, it comes with 30 games, and they're, for the most part, first-party titles, or at least really good quality titles, so that's really, really cool, and especially considering that if you look at the 30 games listed online, some of these games are kind of hard to find or really expensive to get. So with the Mini NES, $69, $99, you just get those 30 games and you're just done. For instance, games like Castlevania, which I've been looking for, haven't had much luck. Mini NES would solve that problem. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, featuring Mr. Dream. It's a game I'm willing to play, but not willing to pay. It's a game I'm willing to play, but not a game I'm willing to pay, because it's like $44.99 if you, depending on where you look, and that's essentially almost, or at least close to the price of the Mini NES itself. And then other games like Kirby, Double Dragon, Contra, of course the Mario games as well. So if anything, the Mini NES is good value, and I like good value. Another good thing about the Mini NES is that it's a portable system. That's why it's called a Mini NES. And that's great, because you know what? That cuts the hassle of having to bring your actual NES, which is like a bunch of times bigger than the Mini NES. Plus, you don't have to carry 30 games with you, because it comes in the Mini NES, like just built right inside of it. And that's really, really convenient. You can just bring it anywhere. You can bring it on a trip to I don't know, a convention or somewhere, or a trip to your friend's place, and you guys can just play NES without the hassle of bringing all the original things, and plus, the wiring and all that stuff. So, being portable is pretty cool. So an interesting feature on the Mini NES is that it has HDMI output. In fact, it's the only output it has, but here's the thing I'm getting at. Does that mean we get pixel-perfect graphics, where, like, pixels are all very, very clean and super clear, and none of that blur from anti-aliasing that you get from either playing on a CRT or HDMI TV using the AV cable? It'd be really neat if it was just super clean. And being that it's emulated, there's a pretty good chance it's probably going to be top quality. But then you gotta consider that I have a feeling that it's gonna be emulated like the Virtual Console on the Nintendo, like on the main Nintendo system, so it might not actually be pixel perfect, but hey, we can hope and speculate about it, right? Pixel perfection. So another feature that I personally found kind of interesting, mostly because it's kind of cool, is that the NES controllers that come off the mini NES, you can use it to plug into your Wiimote, so when you're playing your NES games on your virtual console, instead of like flipping the Wiimote sideways and playing it like that, which works just fine by the way, you can use your NES controller and play your NES games on your virtual console, making it more authentic. It's kind of cool, not necessary, but you know, still kind of a neat thing. Vice versa, does that mean I can take my classic controller and plug that into the mini NES to act as a second controller or a controller replacement? Because that'd be pretty cool and it'd save a couple of bucks. And it's also kind of funny too, because I'd imagine Nintendo wants you to buy a second controller since they only package you with one controller. So it kind of seems like if you've already bought like a bunch of like classic controllers or something that can be plugged into a Wiimote, like the Tatsunoko vs. Capcom arcade stick, that you can probably just use those to plug into the NES and play it, and you know, hopefully that works out. It'd be pretty cool. I'd imagine it should work, and if it doesn't, then it really sucks. So another part of the mini NES that I liked, and this is what kind of convinced me to really consider getting it, is that it costs $69.99, which is actually pretty good if you consider buying a mini NES with all its games loaded on it versus buying an actual NES with all the games that was listed in the mini NES. If you bought everything authentically, that's too much. That's way too much. Like the mini NES just like saves all that hassle, and it's just a really good value for a plug and play. So that's a really good point for the mini NES. Now on to the bad points. Alright, so on to the bad points. Now, this next point is subjective because I'm just going to be saying that I think that some of the games on the mini NES's library isn't that great and that they could be replaced by better games. So, like I said, it's kind of subjective, but I feel like there could have been better games on it, like Battletoads. But yeah, subjective point. So, next one. Now this next one is pretty bad, and I think that most of you, if not all of you, would agree with me on this. The mini NES has no way to expand its library of games. Like the mini NES, it comes with the 30 games, you're stuck with those 30 games. As far as I've seen, there's no way to increase the library of game or your library of games if you bought the mini NES, and that really, really sucks because it holds it back so much. Like I had an idea where if they would have like an SD card or whatever, like, you know, if you can open the flap of the mini NES, there'd be like an SD slot in there, and essentially, or DS slot or whatever, and Nintendo would essentially just release like these SD slots, these 3DS carts or whatever, in the shape of a mini NES cartridge, and you just plug it in and you get another 30 games or whatever that they downloaded onto the cart, and that would be pretty amazing. It'd be like mini NES classic hits, the next volume 2, the next 30 games or whatever, and you'd have like, I don't know, more Mega Man games, the games that we wanted initially built into the system or whatnot, and you would just keep selling those carts, and we'd probably buy it. That'd be pretty great. I'd probably buy it too. Just mini NES cartridge, just plug it and play. It'd be great. But no. Nintendo's like, more like Nintendo. Why would you limit the potential of the mini NES by doing this? Like that's like the biggest thing that makes it hard to completely recommend the mini NES. Like seriously, I think most of you would agree with me on that. That's the thing that stopped the people I talked to about that. Not being able to expand your library of games is probably the one point about the mini NES that stops most people from fully recommending it, because it's like, do I even need to explain it? It just sucks. Next. Okay, so this one is about the NES controllers that come with the mini NES. And this is mostly speculation, but what I'm worried about is I'm hoping the quality of the NES controller is not like the Tomy NES replica controllers, because those controllers, while they're functional, they're actually not that good. And if that's what the NES controllers on the mini and if that's what the NES controllers on the mini NES is going to be like, then That's gonna really ruin your NES gaming experience, in my opinion. But like I said, this is just speculation, and if it's true, well, yeah. So that's the good and the bad on the mini NES. So now it's time for the game. Should you even get it? Well, despite the fact that you can't expand the library of games on the mini NES, which is like a huge letdown, like come on, everyone's gonna complain about that part of the mini NES. But despite that, I still think you should get it because, for one, it's good value, and two, if the system fails, like, fails in, like, selling because of that, of not being able to expand the library of games, it's going to be a collector's item, and that's going to be a really cool thing to have. Well, that's it for The Good, the Bad, the Game, so hopefully you enjoyed this series. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below, because I've been trying to get this series, like, going at some point, like really, like, much earlier in time before, but I never found a good subject to use it on, so, I'm hoping you guys will like it. Just like I said, leave me some feedback. And this is WizWar100. You're the viewers, and I'm the reviewer. So stay tuned for more WizWar100. See ya! Hey guys, this is WizWar100, back with a new video series that I wanted to try doing, or at least experiment to see what you guys think of it, because I've always been wanting to try this series called The Good, the Bad, the Game. Yeah, super original, but like, I liked how it sounded. It was just like The Good, the Bad, the Game. But hey, at least I'm giving it a try. So let's get on with The Good, the Bad, the Game on the mini NES. NES. So what is it? It's a plug-and-play system that... Anyways, the primary focus of the good, the bad, the game is just looking at all the good points of a game or whatever I'm looking at, like, say, a device or anything, which in this case it's the mini NES. So just looking at all the good things and then looking at all the bad things and then drawing a conclusion at the end. Nintendo announced 1 or 2 months ago at the time of this recording, and, well, pretty much everyone that's a Nintendo fan is pretty much excited about it, myself included, because I have a soft spot for plug-and-plays. If you've seen my video game review series, I've done a couple of plug-and-plays, like the FIFA plug-and-play system, the Sega Genesis. Not quite like a review where I go in depth to it, but just kind of listing all the points and then, like, what I think of it at the end of it. So I wanted to try, so I've always wanted to try the series, wasn't sure where to try it, so I figured let's try it on this one and give it a little test run and leave some feedback to tell me what you think of it, or should it just not be done at all.